Is your restaurant team lacking some of that hospitality flair? I'm going to explain what that means coming up right now. Hey everybody, Ryan Gronfin here, author, speaker, chef, restaurateur, founder of therestaurantboss.com, as well as clickbacon.com and scalemyrestaurant.com. I got emailed something last week maybe from someone overseas, and they said, I have this amazing team member, this girl who's my front of the house manager, and she's great, but she lacks that hospitality flair, and they put hospitality in quotes. And then they went on to explain basically, she's a great employee, she shows up on time, she cares, she knows how to do her job, but she just doesn't smile. She doesn't have that outgoing personality. And he said, is this fixable? If so, how? So I thought I would share that with you. So I've put together some notes here that I want to share with you. There's kind of 5 steps that I have to changing behavior in general, but more specifically like personality type behaviors. And so I want to go ahead and share those with you. So the first one is, you will not change somebody that doesn't want to change. You just won't. So don't waste your time. Any behavior that you're working with, anyone on your team that's exhibiting a behavior that you don't like, that you would like to see change, if they don't recognize it and they don't want to change, it's never gonna happen. So let's start there. Have a conversation with people. Pull them aside. Just have a quick chat with them. See if they recognize this behavior. In this particular case, one day, go grab a beer with this person or walk outside of the restaurant, create a more casual environment, and have a quick conversation. Just say, hey, you ever notice, or what are your thoughts on this? You ever notice that maybe you could smile a little more or be a little happier? We've just heard from a couple of employees and a couple of guests, and I've noticed it myself, that you're wonderful at your job and they really like you, but you're just not smiling that much and you don't appear to be all that happy. Is that something you've noticed before? There's nothing wrong with saying that, assuming you have mutual respect, mutual rapport with this person, but use whatever words you need to use. But you're never going to change behavior unless they, 1, recognize it, and then 2, want to change. So if this person says, no, I've never noticed that, that's not true, that's not me, you don't know what you're talking about, people love me, blah, blah, blah. Well, you got an uphill battle here, and you're going to have to decide if this is a battle that you want to fight or not, depending on how important this is. But if this person responds positively and is like, I've noticed that, and maybe it's getting worse, or maybe it's a bigger deal than I thought it was, but yeah, I've noticed that a little bit, I'm struggling, I'm working on it, I'm just having a hard time improving. Well, great, now you can work with that. But step number 1, if your people don't know their behavior, if they don't recognize their behavior and don't want to change, you are never going to change that behavior. So just stop right there. Assuming you get their buy-in, let's move on to step number 2. You must help them attach a desired goal to this new behavior. You have to help them attach a goal to this behavior. So if they're here and you want them to get here, what will that mean to them? Not you. They don't care about you. Nobody cares about you. You may think they do, but they don't. And if they do, it's just this much. They care about themselves, and that's fine. There's nothing selfish about that. That's going to ruffle some feathers up there. I'm going to get some comments about that. Bring it on. I can take it. I'm cool. I'm mature. I can handle it. Bring it on. But the point I'm making is, what's in it for them? If they change this behavior, it's not about you, it's about them. So hopefully at this point, with especially your managers, you know something about their goals, their long-term goals, their short-term goals. Maybe they want to grow in the restaurant business. Maybe they don't even want to be in the restaurant. They want to be something entirely different. So help them attach how this change in behavior, going from not having that hospitality flair to smiling and being happier, is going to help them in their life. Help them attach that change in behavior to their long-term goals, okay? Step number 3, now you must provide a model of the new behavior. This is where I often say owners need to get more involved in operations sometimes. Owners need to model how they want their staff to act. I had a kid on my team who was great, that was just like this. He was shy. He was a first generation American, so he didn't speak great English. but good enough. He was just very shy and quiet and reserved, but he wanted to grow in the restaurant business. So I went through this with him. And then when he used to do back of the house stuff, and when he started doing front of the house stuff, I spent like a week training him personally for like 2 hours a day. He stood next to me and I would just model. I was over the top. I was happy. I was smiling. I was interacting with guests because I needed him to see what I wanted out of him. And I pushed him a little bit and he got a little more comfortable and a little more. But for that first week or so, I modeled the behavior I wanted him to have so he could see the difference between how he was doing it and how I was doing it. Hopefully you have a big enough organization that you've done this with other people. You have other people on your team that are capable of being the person, being the personality you want them to be. But if not, you're going to have to step into this role and be that person so they can model after you. So number 3 is model the new desired behavior. Number 4, feedback. You must give positive and negative feedback. Remember, at this point, they've given you permission to coach them. This is where most people make mistakes. We try to coach people into or out of behaviors that they don't recognize and they don't know they need to change and they don't want to change, and you don't have their permission to coach them, so they're not going to listen to you. But in this scenario, we've already had that conversation with them. We've gotten their permission to coach them. So now if they're doing great, give them that positive feedback. If they're going backwards or making some mistakes, give them that negative feedback, but in a positive way. But you have to deliver feedback on a consistent basis to let them know how they're doing and constantly remind them that you're on the team with them. Remind them of how this behavior change is going to positively help them reach their goals. And then lastly, stay consistent or help them stay consistent with this new behavior. Remind them if they're wavering a little bit. If it's been a couple of months and you haven't necessarily had that much interaction with them, if they're a little bit off, remind them. It's called cadence of accountability. So be consistent. If you have a weekly meeting with this team member, just bring it up every week just for a moment. Just say, hey, I noticed you've been doing great. You've been smiling a lot more. That's wonderful. Or if there's been some setbacks, right? So this kind of relates back to feedback, but be consistent in your behavior. Expect consistency out of their behavior. Because if we stop with that little bit of pressure, with that little bit of accountability, we quickly go back to our old habits. So I hope today's video helps you understand a little bit more about changing people's behaviors. When you hear me say manage systems and develop people, that develop people part is the second part of that. That's what we're talking about today, is managing systems, but then when we have people that aren't quite the person we need them to be to succeed at their highest levels, when we have people who maybe have desires to be doing better but aren't quite achieving, that's where that developing people comes in. So managing systems, developing people. I have multiple videos on managing systems and developing people. You can just go to therestaurantboss.com and click in the search there for that. I also have multiple videos on this idea of giving feedback. You can look up a video called Feedback Formula on constant and never-ending improvement. A lot of my videos are all related to these core topics that we've talked about here, because this is the basics of being a phenomenal manager, of being a great leader to your team. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about management and leadership, we have our restaurant manager certification, which is designed for managers. And then we have Scale, which is designed for owners, where we go into a little detail in the restaurant manager certification, but a lot of detail on this in Scale and other management and leadership techniques. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I hope it was helpful for you, and I look forward to bringing you another great video just like this next week. Have a wonderful day.
Are you struggling to grow your restaurant business? Are you failing to find the time to do all the things you need to do because you're stuck doing everybody else's jobs? This sucks. I know. I've been there. You're not alone. The difference between where you are now and where you want to be is a plan and some new tools. And that is why I created Scale. It's my newest course for restaurant owners who want to grow their businesses and build an extraordinary brand. Learn more at scalemyrestaurant.com. I hope you enjoyed this week's training video. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, would you go ahead and smash the like button right up there so you can get notified every week when we release a new free training video. I've also gone ahead and put a couple of videos for you here and here that I think you're going to enjoy. Remember, systems create freedom. Freedom creates value, and value creates scale. Manage systems, develop people, and be awesome.